lot about the feminine, but we also wanted to talk about a dark night of the soul, right? So we might be bouncing around, but we're okay with that meandering. Yeah. So I do remember though, you told me in our chat that your dark night of the soul lasted like 3 months. And was it this year or in
Um,
the past?
well, yes. So the beginning of it was December of 2024, and it moved into January and February of 2025. So
Ah, gotcha.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So the very beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does like how did that begin for you? Like, did it just show up out of nowhere? Were you already working through something and then it expanded?
That's a really good question. I believe there are multiple things. So the first thing is definitely I believe that I feel like our dark nights of the soul, it's almost feel like they're contracted.
Ooh.
I do feel because I do believe in free will. I believe in free will, but I do believe there's certain moments in our life where they're kind of like contracted. For example, like people that you meet or even um like incidences or experiences that you have. I do believe some of those things it's like it is fated because sometimes we do run into these experiences like how the heck did this happen? Like there's no way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was pondering about this, and I do feel like this was almost like e- when I was maybe like looking at my life plan. That's like okay, at this timing, I'm gonna move through this experience, and it's just I've been getting a lot of signs, and I mean, we can kind of move into that. I mean, if I were to tell my whole story, I think it would be like a 4 or 5 hour thing, and I know we don't have that much time, but, essentially, I moved through a divorce, and, December of 2023. So, you know how people do, what are they called? I even forgot. Like New Year's resolutions and
Yeah.
set goals. We all know those goals don't really work, right? Like we might start them in the beginning of the year and we get all hyped up and then like, we fall off that train and we're like, okay. So, a few years ago I started something with like intentions. So I do my
Mm.
own like ritual every single year of, writing a letter to myself a whole year from now about everything that I want to accomplish, experience, like all my intentions set out for that year. And then I fold it up and I put it away. I don't look at it. I even forget what
Yeah.
I some things maybe, but most of the time I tend to forget. And then at the end of the year, I look at it and I'm like, oh, cool. Like this and this actually did come true. And some things didn't, which is fine because this is now like, this is part of my ritual where I like look at it and I'm like reflecting, like those intentions that I set a year ago, are they still aligned with me? Because some of them are
Mm.
not. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, now it doesn't really matter that they didn't come true. Right.
Right.
And if they're still aligned, then it's like I get to write a whole new letter about the upcoming year for me. And so actually I did that of December of 2023. I noticed that my relationship with my husband at the time was kind of like it needed work basically. And I put out all my intentions and like obviously I read it last year of December of 2024. And you could have put them into two buckets, two categories. I had like my personal life and then my healing. Because intuitively, I was starting to tap into, I needed, like, it was just coming to me that I need to heal my heart. I was even telling my husband this. I'm like, "I need to heal my heart." I didn't know what that really meant.
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of healing work before. I was working with coaches. I was always externalizing, I guess you could say, my healing, which is fine because I feel like that is the path, but I never became embodied. And I think that's what my intuition was starting to tell me, like, become embodied. Like, like you have externalized all of this, internalize it, right? But of course, in the beginning, I had no idea what that meant. I was just like, I feel like I need to heal my heart. And then, I put that piece of paper away, and literally when I read it, I'm like, that's hilarious. It's like I had 2 paths. I thought they were, like, gonna blend in together. And it's like my soul's like, "Yeah, you're not your whole personal life is going to get dissolved. Your whole old life, say goodbye to it.
Yeah.
We're going on the path of, like, the inner healing work." I obviously didn't know at the time, but yeah, it's like my soul's like, "Yeah, we're gonna let all of this go, or you're gonna lose everything in your life. Who
Mhm.
cares, right?" The soul does things like this, and then we're gonna move into, like, your healing journey. And so it was. That's when I started getting really, like, even more hyper conscious, I wanna say, and aware
Mm.
of signs and synchronicities because it's
They're
it
everywhere.
felt like the universe or the divine or whatever you wanna call it, because I really don't care, but it was like it opened my eyelids and was like saying, "Look, pay attention, we're talking to you," right? And I was just getting bombarded with so many signs at the time, and I was kinda slowly deciphering them, and I started to also feel like, "Okay, pretty sure my marriage is on the rocks, I'm pretty sure I'm" like, I remember actually March of, 2024. It was a visceral experience where my body was like,
Mm.
"You're getting a divorce." Like, there's no question. You this is what and I was like, "Well," I actually grieved it
Yeah.
in that moment because it was such a, like, downloaded experience, right? Um, and from then, I kind of was guided into, like, more of my inner healing, doing things for myself, doing things that I love. Really, it was the path of the divine feminine, which is why I'm saying this is
Yeah.
intertwined. Yeah. This truly is intertwined. I was starting just to become more connected deeply with my feminine, with my inner oracle. Because we all have, like us women, we have it. We're so freaking powerful, and they want us to forget.
Preach
Like,
it. Preach it.
and and it's like I went on the path of remember, and I know a lot of other women do
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
It's like to go on this path of remembering it.
Yeah.
And that's also how I also knew that, like, when I was starting to become more embodied, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, my marriage is definitely not aligned." Like, you just know.
Yeah,
You can love somebody and be like, "No, no," and that's how you know when it's, like, you really love because it's, like, you love enough to let go because you know it's not right. You know that like, you've lived as much of that relationship's potential as it could. And the most loving thing you can do is let go, let them go on their own journey, and now you have to go on your own journey of, like, deeper healing, et cetera, right? So, yeah, I went to, Dr. Joe Dispenza's 7-day retreat. I felt called to. I was always had that feeling that I was gonna go, and, last year in August, I went. And I was doing a lot of working with my heart. I had a kundalini experience. It was very, like, eye-opening, and I continued to work with my heart because I knew I had, like, blockages. I knew I had walls up, not only from, like, romantic relationships, but also, like, friendships
yeah.
that, like, truly, I never expected them to betray me, and they did.
Yeah.
And, that hurts you over time. Um, and I it's interesting because I got my first taste of my heart opening in I wanna say the beginning of December, and that's what I don't know if that made me go into a dark night of the soul, kinda like my soul was like, "Okay, she's ready to dig even deeper," and then all my
Mhm.
inner kind of demons were coming out, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, there's so much pain here that I never allowed myself to feel."
Ooh, yeah.
And I I had to be with it. Like, I actually lost my job that I was working in social media and marketing at the end of October, and basically, my darker night of the soul, I knew I couldn't have a job then. It made sense why I was let go. I'm like, this actually was my full-time job, was to because
Yeah.
it was, like, nonstop. I would feel something, I would have to sit with the pain. I couldn't distract myself. I couldn't, um avoid it anymore. It was time. That's why I'm saying it's almost like, in a way, it was fated. It's like, "No, no, 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 no. This is the time. This is the time you're gonna sit here. You're gonna look at it. You're gonna be with it. It's gonna be painful." Like, I'm never gonna sugarcoat this and say, "Oh, yeah, it's it's a cup of tea." No, they call it a dark night of the soul for a reason because it truly feels like it's the most painful thing ever. And it really does feel like in the moment it's never going to end, but it does. That's how you really alchemize those things.
Yes.
But it was yeah, I don't know. Mine was like literally 3 months long. And not to say that I was always in like the painful parts, it's like I would feel something would come up, I would feel it, I would be with it, I couldn't run with it, and eventually you start to understand that that feeling does go away, like, you
Yeah.
sit with it, you alchemize it, you work with it, you understand it, you try understanding the roots of it, right? And it gets to a point where it neutralizes and you're like, "Okay, it's, like, passing over," and I would get I don't know, some days it would be like I wanna say a 1 day, 2-day break, and then the next wave would come. I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" I had like, there was no control over this. This was just like, "No, we're gonna finally feel everything that I didn't even know I was avoiding, truly.
Yeah, yeah.
I had no idea, and it's like, "Nope, you gotta do it. You gotta do the work," and at the end of February, it started to become like, I think I had just more days in between, and it just started to feel more neutralized, and I had some other couple experiences where but I that felt more like ancestral. Like, I was like, "Oh, I feel like this is from my ancestors," like, all the grief and, rage, actually, and it was like the
Mm.
ancestors that the feminine side.
Yes.
The ones that were freaking, like, tortured or burned or made to kept small in silence, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm reclaiming all of that." I'm coming into because it's interesting, from my mom's side, my grandma had a throat thing. She
Mhm.
couldn't express herself. She developed something with her not that she couldn't talk, but, like, she actually had
Yeah, yeah.
surgery on her throat, and the same thing with not that my mom has, like, she had surgery, but she's always, like, clearing her throat, and I even, like, started to do that, and that's that blockage of, like, "Don't speak. Sit down. Be in your place. You should just, sit pretty and smile. Don't speak. Don't express. No one wants to hear you. People just wanna look at you.
Mm.
Women should be looked at, but not, not
Yeah.
heard." Right? And like, months after, I was like, "Whoa, I'm feeling my ancestors' rage." And I had to safely, like, go through that and express
Yeah.
them safely, right? Because there's safe ways to express rage. But I was like, "Wow, this is what I'm, like, starting to reclaim." And it's really funny, Joy, because this is actually part of, like, reclaiming your femininity, right?
Hmm.
And because I've been doing this for a while and I'm stepping more and more into it, I can actually feel it. It's a feeling thing, right? Because you
Yep.
become embodied. Let me tell you how that triggers people.
Oh shit. I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, you've
You're
experienced
preaching.
the
You're
same thing.
preaching. You're preaching still. Yes. No, I've totally experienced the same thing. Oh,
Yeah,
yes. Yeah.
both from men and women.
Yes. Yes. Mhm. Yeah.
Men gets like this is how you know, by the way, ladies, if there are women watching, um, when you finally start stepping into that, like, feminine sovereignty and power within you, an unhealed masculine will get triggered by that. He will try and box you in. He will
100%.
try and I've experienced that, and it's funny because it was almost like I guess you can call it like a test of, like, am I going to contort myself and right? And I was like, "Uh-uh. No, 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 no. I've done way too much work."
Yes.
And I've like I set a boundary. I'm like, "You do not talk to me this way." And it's funny because it wasn't in a romantic sense. This was like someone I was working on a project with, and I'm like, who do you think you are?" Like, do you know the work that I've done on myself? I am not gonna contort myself, because women, we do get used to overgiving,
Yes.
over pleasing everybody.
Well,
And
we're
I'm like,
we're taught to do it
yeah,
and praised for it and
yeah,
conditioned, essentially.
exactly, right? And it's funny because I did feel in that moment that, like, because we're taught this from little girls, right? So I did feel that, like, little girl come out and be like, "Wait, should I, like, you know, contort, bend myself to please him?" I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. What do you like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm working on my side of the project.
Right.
I like no, no, if you need rest, rest, honey. If he's trying to make you, like, do more, no, 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 no. No." Like, and it's because I understood he was playing in a very, distorted masculine and feminine side. It was actually it's you start to feel this. I literally just made a post about this where I'm like, "Women, when you're in your feminine, you can feel, um, the man that you're around." And again, it doesn't have to be romantic. It could be like you're with a friend or, you're at work, right? Because it's energy at the end of the day. It's not,
Yeah.
you can feel how embodied that man is based on how you feel. Do you feel safe in
Yeah.
his presence? Do you feel safe? Do you feel like you can expand and open up, right? Or do you have to contract and look out and keep yourself safe, right? So I was like, okay, well, and there was a part of me that wanted to, like, go and, like, take the lead on certain things. I'm like, "Wait a minute, this is not my project. I'm just helping."
Yeah.
Like, like, no, 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 no. I'm gonna be in my feminine power, right? And it starts to become very telling, truly.
Yeah.
And then there are women who aren't there yet. They also are like, "What do you think you are?" It's like, "Oh my gosh." Like, like, and but it just mirrors, like, the things that they haven't claimed in themselves, right? And I get that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I do.
It's not personal in a way in that regard. It feels personal, and then on some levels it
Yeah.
is, but then on another level it isn't. It's just their projection and, unhealed stuff that you're just shining light on it and they don't like it,
Yeah.
right? That's
Yeah.
whether man or woman, like, that's what's happening.
Exactly. Exactly. And, like, for me, it's like I really wanna help remind women that it's like, "No, like,
You're allowed to take up
you."
space.
Yes. Yes, right? Like, there's room for all of us to shine, right?
Yes.
And I can't remember where, but I've used this example of, like, when you look at the night sky, what makes the night sky beautiful? It's when
Yeah.
you see a cluster of stars shining. Like, when you're in the city or somewhere with a lot of light pollution and you just see, like, a few, it's like, yeah, it's pretty, but to me, what's breathtaking is when you see every single star shine. And are they competing? No. They're it's like they're being in their own essence and they're just emanating their light, and that's what makes it beautiful. So I find that the same with, like, women stepping into their power. It's like, just because if you see another woman in her power and she's sharing her voice and she's sharing her light and her gifts from within, does not diminish yours. If anything, she is a mirror of your own potential that you have within you,
Oh, that's
right?
beautiful. Yeah. I love that
Right?
night sky analogy. It's so beautiful and perfect, and it just sums it up. And if it does trigger you, then that's
That's
showing you your own shadow, right? Like that's where you need to look. Why? Why is that bothering you?
yeah,
Yeah, is this it's an insecurity of yourself that you
of course.
have to look at, right? Yeah. No, this is so beautiful hearing your story, Alexandra, because mine's very similar. Um I had a Christ conscious awakening. That's just a name that came to me. I haven't like Googled it or anything. But it happened this past April and it was profound. I felt my consciousness shift into this higher state of love. And kind of like with your divorce, I was married. I have a toddler and we were getting ready to buy a house in Alaska. I was like so ready to live this life, right? And I have this experience and I just see where I was lying to myself about my marriage. I see where it was actually more loving to separate, right? And more loving for myself and him and my
Yep.
daughter, right?
Yes.
Now, when for the externally for him, my ex-husband and like my family, it just felt out of the blue, right? They were like, "What? Where'd this come from? Like, what's going on?" And I'm like, "No, it's happening. I understand." Like, I feel it in my body, like you said, it's visceral. Like, no, I can't do that. And I remember once, he wanted to hug me, like, while we were having these discussions about separating, and my body just was a flat no. And it's not that he had ever done anything like, it wasn't anything like that. It was just like, "No, I am sorry, I can't deny my body. Like, I have to honor this no, even though I'm probably could use a hug right now, but not from you, right? No offense. Have to honor this, but, um, I actually traveled the globe. I I I just felt this need. Travel is very part of, something for me. I've been a nomad before, and now I'm moving back into being a nomad, and just I went to Australia, and then I went to England, but as I was there, I was going through this dark night of the soul, and I wasn't working, right? I was girl mathing it. Like, it was total faith and trust, but it was like, "Okay, I just have to do this for
Mm,
myself," and like you said, every few days, something would show up, and I'd have to just sit with it and cry and grieve
yeah.
and move through it, and, um, just I wasn't even that active on Substack or other places, but men would show up, and it was all of these, learning interact how to interact with them and me becoming more in my divine feminine and my deep feminine, and I was like, "Ah, this is why they're showing up," right? And, um, sometimes they would go well, sometimes it would not go well at all. It was sometimes it would be very short, sometimes it felt romantic, sometimes it didn't, right?
Mm.
And every time, I mean, we're talking like at least a dozen dudes came, and there was a lesson in each one. that was reflected, and I would take it and integrate it and
Mhm.
embody that, and just with each step or each encounter, it literally was teaching me how not to do that bending. 'Cause
Mm.
I would literally feel my energy start to lean, and then I'd be like, "Hold up. Hold up, what's going on? No, we are not doing that. I am not doing that. I recognize that pattern. No, thank you. I am not going through that again." Like, I will did I do it perfectly? Hell no. Hell
Mm.
no, it was messy as fuck. It's so messy. But, to me, that's part of the process, and they were messy too, right? Because we're
Mm.
none of us are completely healed and, like, transcending. Obviously, we're still here, right? So, that to me is still beautiful, though. There's beauty in that. And I know I was reflecting things to them, and that's on them to take those lessons or not, right? I can't
Yeah,
force that. But now, oh,
good.
I'm not even starting to bend before I notice it. It's like, "Oh, no, we're not even gonna go there, dude." Like, I'm not even
Yeah.
that lesson was learned and integrated months ago, so no, you don't have to learn that lesson. No, I'll learn other ones, right? Because I with that oracle stuff, it
Mm.
can be pretty intense. Um,
Yep.
and some of these timelines are beautiful. They're beautiful what you see and sense, and the lesson I got most recently was like,
Mm.
I can't latch on to that. I need to view it all as potential, right? And
Mhm.
just because it's my gift slash curse in a way to just hold that, right?
Yeah.
And because, like, yeah, the signs are everywhere. And when you learn how to read them and just acknowledge them, especially in
Mm.
the beginning, it's a little overwhelming. And you're like, oh my God, this means this has to happen, right? And then it doesn't happen. And then you're like, what the fuck? Did I read it wrong? And you're like, no, I actually didn't read it wrong. I was interpreting it wrong. I was clinging to it too much.
Well, can I say
Yeah,
something
go
to
for it.
that?
Yeah.
'Cause I'm laughing because honestly, Joy, wow, there's a lot that you're saying that, like, I'm like, yeah, I I've experienced that, right? Um, with with that feeling that arises, I do a lot of videos on YouTube, right? There's
Yeah.
one that I did about, like, 'cause I've like, when I'm really honest with myself, I've actually always been feeling into things. It just no one ever taught me that that was right. So I would question it. I would, kind of shove it away. It's kinda like not listening to your intuition, right? That
Yeah.
that that is what we're taught, and that's we're taught that for a reason, right? So that we become powerless. And then when I started to notice the patterns, it's like, "Wait a minute, like, my intuition always seems to be correct." And that was and then that's when the signs were, like, even more. Um, and I can feel into things, and one of the things that I have learned is, like, when you feel into something, you think, like, kinda like, "Okay, this is it, like, this is gonna happen, like, tomorrow," right? Or any minute, or like, if you have, like, "Oh my god, I think this is gonna happen on the 15th." Like, I got a sign it's gonna happen on the 15th, right? You're not wrong. That energy is real, right? There's different timelines and potentials, and when you feel an energy so strongly where you're like it's like overtaking your body, you're feeling something that literally could happen in a few months. This is where I've learned it's like sometimes when I feel the energy so strongly and I think it's going to happen like tomorrow or something, I'm only feeling what's literally in my energetic field and has a high potential to happen, but there's a divine orchestration. That
Mhm.
literally means it could happen months from now when I'm in the unknown because what I've learned is like the divine w- we have come from an all-knowing place, right? Like I know people believe in different things, but I believe that we come from this all knowing. Like, we manifest things easily because it's energy, right? When we're on that side. And we've come here to learn basically to have like the intention and then let go, surrender, be in the unknown. Don't to not be so predictive of when something is going to happen or how exactly it has to look like, because that is the magic, right? Because if we've come from a place where we know and things can happen like this on the other side, we've come here to experience what we're not. What And that's why it can feel frustrating to us. It's like, "What the hell? I've been feeling like, I don't know. I'm gonna use the example of like a job or maybe a spouse or whatever. You're like, I can feel it. You're not wrong for feeling it. It is there. The potential's there. And it's actually, especially if you're experiencing the signs on the outside, it is coming to you. But the divine, God, source, angels, whatever, wants you to be in the unknown, experience the magic that life has to offer you. Because when you can surrender into that feeling of like, oh, I feel this, I know it's going to happen, but let me enjoy my life. Let
Yeah.
me be,
Well,
let
that's
me be,
sovereignty, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And if you want to go,
Well, I mean, just it's okay to know it like you said, you surrender, you release it. You're not attached to that outcome, right? You're
exactly.
staying open in that open state of surrender. To
Yes.
me, I know I wrote about this weekend and it'll show up at some point online. Life is wonder, embracing that unknown, which is easier probably for some people than others, I think.
Mm.
Because people want the structure, they want the path, they wanna know what's ahead. They want a plan, right? What's the plan? I wanna know the plan, and it's like, the plan is there is no plan.
Ugh.
And we're just gonna figure it out. And, you might know a few steps ahead, but we don't need to
Mm.
know the full plan, right?
Yeah.
And that if you're not secure within yourself, that is extremely disorienting, and I understand that, right?
Yeah.
Um 'Cause I've been there before too. That I used to have an anxiety disorder, and that is essentially what it stemmed from, right? That
Right.
was in the past, it's been a while, and I have to, like, remember, "Oh, I used to live that way. Oh, yeah, I remember I remember that." But now it's like, "No, it's fun." It's like a surprise,
Yeah.
embracing that surprise, but with that oracle part, um, yeah, it's a little bit of a learning curve because
Mm.
you can choose to sense. Sometimes it just floats in on its own, right? This was happening during my dark night of the soul and after, right? So it was part of the lessons even during that time. Because when I left Alaska to go to Australia, I was just like, I had an idea of what was going to happen. That did not fucking happen at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was like, oh, okay. I was a little too attached to that. But it also involved other people. And so it
Yeah.
was like, I can only obviously I already knew, but it's like I'm getting a visceral lesson here on,
Mm.
well, I can only control myself, right? And they at one point maybe they were choosing that time up and now they've shifted and they want to do something else or whatever, right? So it's like, okay, I just yeah, it's a lot of lessons in that. And I
A lot of surrender, yeah. Which
yeah,
which by the way, that is the feminine, right? The
yeah,
feminine is surrender. She is the unknown. She dances in the mystical. And our masculine, because I believe we need to become balanced with
yes,
our
me too.
masculine and feminine, right? The masculine wants to know. He's direct force energy. And it's not bad, but it has to the masculine feminine polarities, both within and without, they have to dance. You
Yeah,
know? One sometimes leads and the other one follows. And it's not always the masculine leading. Sometimes the feminine leads in the unknown, in the surrender, in the mystical, right? And like I said, the masculinely, and it's a constant freaking dance. And
Yeah.
within us, we have to learn how to balance that and how to lean into both, because sometimes, yes, it's about action and you know, focus, direct action. And sometimes it's about rest, surrender, let go, trust, allow, right? And
Receive.
receive. Oh my gosh. I've, I could honestly, I really want to like, I'm sure you could tell that a lot of my content is speaking about the divine feminine, because it's been my journey. I know yours as well, and I do feel a lot of women and men, but I do believe women are leading this movement of coming into the feminine. But I truly can, like, I'm starting to see in myself how embodied I have become and the signs that I receive, right? That I am in my feminine, and more so, I guess you could say balanced, right? Because it's a pendulum. I before, and I'm sure you could resonate, because I just feel like we're born in a society like this where we've been in the distorted masculine of ego, pride, constantly doing, go, 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 like, don't rest. If you rest, you're lazy. No, you're not. Rest is one of the most powerful things you can do. That's literally receivership,
Yeah.
right? But we were taught otherwise. And so for me, like, I even remember in the beginning of my journey, I had to start getting comfortable with rest. And
Mm.
I had the self-critical thoughts of, what are you doing? You're lazy. You should be doing X, Y, and Z, la la la. La." And I had to work through those thoughts of like, no, I don't. Like, I'm just gonna exhaust myself.
Right?
And this constant need of do, and think, action plan, da 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 da. Um, it exhausts you, right? And so I kind of, because for me, it's been a 7-year journey. If I really think about it, it's been 7 years of me coming back into my feminine and then being like balanced. Because I did swing the other way of like really being in my because I was like, ooh,
Well, you discover it. You wanna,
right? I was like, wait a minute, I've been missing this. This is what I was like, no, no, no. Let me vacation here. My masculine to go away. I don't want him, right? Inner masculine, of course. And I was like, let me be in my feminine a little bit. And that's usually how energy works, right? Because when you're too much on one side of the pendulum has to swing the other way. And then it kind of comes into balance, right? But one of the things I'm curious if, Joy, this has something that you've been seeing within yourself as you step more into your feminine. Like, for me, again, I believe I mentioned it earlier, I can literally feel when a man is fully in his masculine and how much. I feel it now. So, like I said, when I was working on this project, because this man was really in his like feminine, it was the first time I felt disgusted. Like,
Mm.
I felt disgust in my body. I was like, I'm disgusted the fact that you can't hold a safe container,
Mm.
right? And that you're trying to put me in my masculine. I was repulsed.
Yeah.
And it was a body experience, and then it's not like I was like, "Oh, this man," like, it's not like I was telling him this, or any like, it was just my body's response to how he's been conditioned, because men also have been conditioned to be a certain way, right? And I was like, "Oh, this feels gross that I have to, like, keep myself safe," and, like, he's trying to put me in my like, it was gross. And I actually have started recently experiencing when a man is actually in his masculine, like, presence, safety, like, there's this, like, grounded freaking force. I'm like, "Oh my god." My and look, I'm gonna say my body got I guess you could say, turned on, but that feeling is of expansiveness, of safety and
Yeah.
openness, because we open like a doesn't mean I acted on that those
Right, right, right.
feelings, right? It was just my body being like, "I feel safe. I can melt into this structure and stability, and that he's got it." And I was like, "Oh, shit, I can feel when someone's actually there," right?
Like he can hold you. All of you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, and I was like, "Oh my god." And again, this wasn't like a romantic thing, this was just like a very platonic thing. Someone that I know that we just met up, and I was like, "Oh, I never was able to feel his safety before." Probably because before I just was like not fully conscious and aware of that, but I was like, "Whoa, I can lean into this," and, like, he could direct us through, and I don't have to be so hyper aware of everything. Wow, okay, this feels really good in my body, right? Um, and another sign that I've been receiving is receiving. I'm getting in this energy of receptivity and just receiving. It, like, comes out of nowhere. Because the feminine, naturally, she's magnetic.
Yeah.
She pulls to her things like a magnet. She doesn't need to extort, she doesn't need to, like, contract and do all these things. She
Penetrate and
just
go. You just
she
literally
just
sit back and like, okay, what are you gonna bring?
right? And I started to experience that, and I was like, "Oh my god, I am in this energy," right? Like, obviously, I know it's a journey, it's probably
Yeah,
gonna
yeah, yeah.
expand more and more, but I'm actually really getting there, I'm receiving the signs. So I'm curious if that's also what you're
Oh
experiencing.
yeah. Within myself and with others too. Like when I finished my travels, which took 3 months, that's why that beautiful synchronicity between us. And
Wow.
I got back to the States, a part of me was like, well, I need a job. I need a plan, right? Like I need to file for divorce. I need to do blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah. And it was like my nervous system was still so
Mhm. It's a
tight.
training, yeah.
And I was like, no, I need to just chill. I just need a rest. And like it took almost 2 months of being in that state. And I had people be like, you're too much in your feminine. And I'm like, no, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I am a very action person, but I want to take clear action, right? In the right
Yeah.
direction. I don't want to like splatter it and see what sticks. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to wait to receive the right clarity. And it fucking came. It fucking came.
I love
And it was a few weeks ago, actually. I was in a women's circle and one of my friends, she was just like ranting about this spiritual teacher she knew. And
Mhm.
she was just, it was, to me, it was like holy fire. And she was just, I don't know what she was saying, but she was just ranting. And I was like, I want that fire. I want that fire on Astronaut of Life. Like, burn it down. Please burn it down with your beautiful, gorgeous fire. Like, just, I want to receive that, please. And so I reached out to her and I was like, "Can you please burn down my shit? Like, I want you to." And so she was like, okay." And so we got on this call and she's like, you don't need to get rid of everything, Joy. Like, you just need to do blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, it lit me up
Nice.
and excited my energy, my solar plexus, my sacral were just
Uh,
lit. And then, like, literally, I'm working on it right now. Like, this past weekend, I don't know why I keep pointing behind me, but like, this past weekend, my ex had my daughter, and I spent probably 15 to 20 hours just writing,
mm.
reworking my copy, redoing everything with my true voice, with the direction. And it's like, this is the way.
Oh,
This was what I was waiting for. I didn't know what I was waiting for. I coulda got a nudge to go in any direction, right? I was open. That's that open and surrender. I was in my feminine, but it was like, it's not that I don't want to take action. I
mhm.
just want to wait to take the right action.
Yeah.
And now I'm in my more in the masculine, right? I'm taking action. I'm doing the things, and they'll be more of a balance. This is more of a rush to get it all going. But no, I also understand what you're saying because I think for most of my adult life, I didn't sense when a man was safe.
Mm,
Um,
we're not taught that.
no. And I could tell when he really wasn't safe,
Mm,
right? I could feel that, but I couldn't really I didn't know how to sense the safety. And
mm,
yeah, even during my travels when I would meet people, that's what would come up a lot. And sometimes it would feel safe, but it was also distorted in a way.
yep. Oh,
And
a
or
thousand.
confusing. And it was like, why is there resonance here, but I'm still confused,
Good for you for yep.
right? And I was like, this isn't clear. So I'm just gonna I'm just gonna
Good.
step back, right? And yeah, you need these mirrors and these interactions to kind of teach you like, oh, okay. Oh, wow, this one feels really good. Like I
Mm,
feel really safe. I feel like I could say anything or do anything and I'm not going to be judged and I can fully express myself and I can express towards the person, right? I can express devotion, I can express these things. Um no, I'm still learning. It's
you
all
know
still
what,
learning, yeah.
Joy? I've had the same experience, and it's funny. I don't know how else to explain it, but I've told some of my other friends. It's like it's a blessing and a curse, but I don't believe it's a curse. The only reason that word comes to me is because it's like you become so sensitive to the distortions that you're like, "Holy shit. There's a lot of healing that, like, especially men need to do." So, I'll also give you an example, and I kinda do wanna voice this because I know women in the spiritual community, automatically, they're like, "Oh my god, I need to find a spiritual man." Like, that's who I need to go to, but let me tell you, ladies, and I've experienced this, few times. They're not always the healed ones.
Right.
A lot of the time they wear masks. So just be careful just because a man labels himself as spiritual and that he's doing the work, doesn't mean he's doing the work. He can be using that as a mask. And it's funny because I recently traveled and in one of the Airbnbs that I stayed at, there was this man there and not anything romantic at all. It was just like we had a conversation. There was a lot of like we were like-minded. We
Yeah.
had a really really good conversation. Um and you could put him in the category in the bucket of spiritual, right? And one of my last nights there, he's like, "Oh, I really enjoy my conversation with you. Like, can I take you out to dinner just so we can like talk?" Right? Like just more of a conversation. Plus, it's like your last night before you fly. I'm like, "Yeah, of course," because I was gonna take myself out.
Yeah.
I've got into that energy where I date myself, right?
Yeah.
Again, this wasn't a date. This was more like, yeah, let's have another like good conversation. And it's really interesting because as soon as we went out, and I don't know what he had, because I don't know him well enough. I don't know what he has in him that as soon as we went out, I felt how, um mistrusting he is. I felt so much
Mm.
mistrust in his body that it made my guard go up. I was like, "Wait a minute." It's a subconscious thing, right? It's an energetic thing, right? Here I am thinking like, "Wow, this guy like seems like-minded," and I was not like entertaining. Oh, no, I was just like cool conversation, cool guy, right? We went out and as like I said, as soon as we went out to dinner, my body was like, "Whoa," like he has an issue with trust. There's something about trust that he and it's funny because his energy did change, but then as soon as we went back to the Airbnb, because this was like a communal Airbnb, his dynamic shifted again. So there was something, right? And again, not to say that this was a bad guy. No, he
Right, right.
probably just has some distortions that I'm not even sure if he's aware of. I was thinking, like, do I bring this up? I'm like, no, I don't. Like, anyway, I'm leaving. What I like, no, right? Like, this is his own work. This, if anything, was a mirror for me that
Yeah,
like I can sense it that quickly, and it's my body. It's not
yeah,
like I'm thinking about it's my body's like, "Oh, this guy has an issue with trust." And it's just interesting because I was out and I was like then my body was like, "Wait, so now I have to be hyper aware now of my surroundings. Like, why is he in this, like, mistrusting energy?" Like, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Again, it's an energy thing. And, yeah, I it's so interesting because it's like, it doesn't matter how like-minded you are with this person. It's like when you become so embodied, it's like, "Oh my gosh, you can feel it."
Well, I think that's it. I'm not sure they are fully embodied with their deep masculine, right?
Yeah.
Because they no judgment, right? We're
Mm.
talking about our journey doing it with the feminine, right? Like, we gotta go through it too, they're working through it.
We went through our own fire.
Yeah. But, you can tell. You can tell because one minute it'll feel very safe, not necessarily 1 minute, but then, like you said, a different environment or a different day, and suddenly there's distrust or there's skepticism and you're like, where's this coming from?" Um,
Right?
like, "What? I didn't do anything. Nothing has shifted on my end, to create this. Like, why are you projecting this onto me?" Um But then you're like, "Okay, that's a you thing, right? I'll take
Yeah.
what I can from that." But, that's what I'm kind of, understanding is maybe men and feminine, we're all working on this embodiment, and that's really I think men like to stay in their minds
Yeah.
and play with the theories, and I find that gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I love doing it myself, but it's also like, "But no, we we gotta move it down. We gotta
Yeah.
live it out. We gotta figure it out." And I have some male friends that are doing that work, and it is so beautiful to see them embody it and change and shift and own it, right? To embrace their own feminine and resting and waiting for that clarity. And it's like, I know just me doing that for myself is reflecting that to them, right?
Mhm.
And I think this is I'm seeing it as like a shift in the spiritual community. You're either working towards embodiment and working towards this integration, or you're on the hamster wheel and you're just going and going and going and trying to fill
Yeah.
it and everything, right? But
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I'll leave it there, I guess.
Well, no, you know what? You're bringing up a good point because it's funny. I was on that same wheel. I have actually a very complex. I've always philosophized theories, and I like to go in and dissect. Like I'm very much. I was always kind of
Yeah.
my mind, but again, we are taught that since childhood, right? And it is funny because I think it was around the end of 20 no, yeah, 2023, beginning of 2024, where I was like, "I'm done." I couldn't listen to anything. I couldn't read anything. It was like my vessel was done, um, receiving information, and I was like, "I need to start,
Yeah.
like, becoming," right? Like, body-wise, right? But I'll give you another example because this is also really, really telling of, like, when you're doing the work and then you're met with people who aren't, right? So, months ago, I actually kind of was dating this guy where I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's, like, spiritual, he's doing all the things," right? There's a lot of alignment, and it was really interesting because the first date I had with him, my body was like my intuition was like, "He can't meet you at your depth," and I was like,
Ooh.
"Oh, really? No, no, he seems so."
But I want him to.
And you know what's interesting is because, again, I've been coming into, like, the feminine, my own inner oracle, I work with nature as well. Um, I I communicate with nature. I believe that all of this is, like, always communicating with us, and, I was doing, like, my own ritual of, like, okay, angels, guides, universe, spiritual team, and ancestors, like, if this man is actually meant for me and he's aligned to my highest good and to the person that I'm becoming, then he can stay in my life. But if he's not, like, remove him immediately. I'm like, I don't even want to entertain anything temporary. Just remove him immediately out of my energy has become way too precious. My work has become way too precious for me to entertain anything temporary or to have
Yeah.
another man to like where I'm pulling him up because that was my dynamic always. I was
No, me too.
right. I was like, you're no longer siphoning my life force energy, right? And I was like, please just let it be done. Literally that freaking day. He calls me unexpectedly. It was unexpected, not planned. He calls me and he tells me how much I've been triggering him. How because whenever I was telling him about my story of embodiment, he it
Trigger.
made him question all the external work that he was doing because he was very yes, he was in this, like, healing space, but he was using all the tools, and he was relying too much on he had so many tools, so many gadgets, right? And I'm not judging that because I even used those tools and gadgets, right? But because I was coming into more embodiment of feeling my pain, no longer externalizing that to somebody else for them to solve. I had to do it on my own and feel it and be with it, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. It's like it questioned him about his work and he hated that. And so he told me how much it triggered him that he hated. I was like, he's like, it feels like you're attacking me. I was like, I'm not trying to attack. I'm just telling you my story. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And he's like and he couldn't, and I was like, "Oh, okay, there we go. He can't match my depth. He can't receive me." And I was like, my intuition
Freaking
was like,
intuition. Don't
"Oh,
should know from the start, right? Well,
always, always right.
to me, triggers are good. I welcome them, right?
You gotta lean into them."
You gotta lean in. It's like, oh shit, you triggered me. What am I being shown now? Where do I need to look? Um, yeah, so I mean that's
But
all perspective. Yeah, it's all perspective.
I feel like women have an easier time with that, to lean into triggers, because that is the unknown,
Yeah.
and I do believe women have a certain amount of resilience to feel and be with pain as opposed to men.
Well, that's probably related to our bodies, right? I'm I'm not an expert on anything, but I
No.
do know women have a higher pain tolerance, right?
No, that
For
is true.
childbirth and
That
everything.
it
Yeah.
periods even, like,
Yeah.
no, that is true, um, as opposed to men, and so that's why for men, again, I know it's not all 'cause I do see men that are doing the work, but do I believe women are leading? Yeah, we're leading this. The only reason men are waking up is because of the women who have been doing the work and becoming embodied themselves. That's the only reason. It's a ripple effect, right? Um, but a lot of men tend to be scared of that pain. That's why they distract themselves most of the time. That's why it's easier to use all these tools or alcohol, drugs, or whatever to numb the pain so they don't have to sit with it. But the more that they do that or anybody does that, because I even played in that sandbox of not wanting to feel my pain. Absolutely. I it was too uncomfortable until, like I said, my dark night of the soul where I had no choice. I had to. Um and it there's this, like, inner fire, I guess, that gets burst
Mm.
out of you, right? When you do that and you're like, "Okay, there's no more running." I believe that a lot of people do get to a point where it's like, you no longer can run away from it. It's gonna catch up to you one way or another, where you're gonna have to sit with it, be with it, feel it, alchemize it, be transmuted through it, right? Like, that's the real inner work.
Oh, yeah. Well, would you say that's the point of a dark night of the soul, to teach you to do that, right?
Yeah.
And so when you move out of that phase, you have that skill and you just use it as things arrive. I
Oh, oh,
I didn't get on that hamster wheel, maybe for a hot second at the beginning of my spiritual journey, but it intuitively I knew I was like, I need to look inward for this guidance. And it really felt like carving my own path because everybody around me was following teachers and, yeah, collecting
yep,
the
yep,
tools. And I'm like, no, I like, my tool is meditation, right? And so I'm just going to meditate. That's what works for me and my energy. And I would meet entities and they would tell me stuff and we would work on stuff. And I was just learning how to activate my Merkaba. I was learning all these cool things. Um, Learning about my feminine, how to embody it more. And like you said earlier, I kind of went a little too far at first.
we all do. Of
But because but I almost had to, because
course.
I call them tower moments. So
Yep,
I
yep,
was in a tower moment, like a rock bottom, right?
yep.
And I have gone through many of them. I'm in one right now, actually. But I had always done it with my masculine. Like, oh, well, I'll just get a new job. Oh, I'll just make this happen, right? Because society, that's what you're
Yep.
told to do, regardless of your gender, right? You got to take action. You got to be responsible for yourself. And so this one time I was like, no, no, time out. I'm going to try it the other way. And it was hard as fuck. It was so hard to, like, it really I felt so much resistance and it took so much mindfulness. And thankfully I had those skills, but it was like, "Oh, I need to apply for." No, I don't need to apply for a job. I am waiting. I am waiting. Like, "Oh, I need to do." No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And it was just constant catching myself. And I feel like this tower moment is the true integration where I'm not leaning on one or the other too strongly, right? I'm like I told you earlier, I
Yeah.
was in the feminine to receive, I got the receiving, and now we're moving into even more regulated and um, integrated. And it's like, I think we all have it all, like, it's the same lesson, but the way it shows up externally is gonna look different for everybody. It might not always be a divorce,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You might not have a whole timeline shift or where everything, sometimes I would move countries so that even all of all of it would look different, right?
Mhm.
But, no, it's just a beautiful, beautiful journey.
Yeah, yeah. I will say, 'cause I do agree with you, like, it doesn't always have to look like somebody else's, um, journey, right? We're all on different journeys, but I will say, I am noticing, and like I said, this is kinda like why I'm saying the women are leading and there's, like, the rise of the feminine. I am noticing a lot more women that we're getting tired. We're
Yeah.
getting tired. Our own consciousness is rising, and we're no longer willing again to contort ourselves to play in the same like sandboxes that we used to like we're like what like we're questioning more, and it's very, very interesting because I like again when I was on my trip in California, I was sitting at a cafe and I was just being with myself, and there were these two ladies sitting in front of me, and at one point, like, I took out my headphones and I heard their conversation, and this one lady is talking to her friend, and she's basically saying how she's done. Like, and I don't know if this was her boyfriend or husband, but she's like, "Listen, I have a choice to either still be with him and just accept it and just accept that, like, this is my life. This is how it's gonna be. I can't, fully enjoy, blah, blah, blah. She's like, but I'm getting to the point where I think I'm just gonna leave. And she's like, I have no idea what's gonna happen, how that's gonna look like. But she's like, I need to start enjoying my life, myself. And this isn't it. And so many women are getting to that point
I
now.
agree. Yeah. It's a collective thing. I feel like collectively we've been doing that inner work. Um, I use this very loosely, but like in lifetimes, right? Um, and yeah, it's reaching a pinnacle, even outside of spirituality, where women are just like, we're done, we're just over
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Because
And
I'm
to me, there can be an extreme because as a woman, you can tap into this. My third eye, it looks like a stream of energy,
Mhm.
and it's that feminine rage. You can hear it in the music now, where it's that like whole, I'm done, I'm over it. I'm not going to be your servant. I'm not going to make your babies. I'm not going to do shit. Right?
Be everything.
Yeah, I'm not going to wear every freaking hat anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and look at my tone's even changing as I'm saying all
It's very,
that.
like, sharp.
It's
It's like,
so easy to tap into. I don't know if men realize how easy it is. It's happened to because it's ancestral and it's
yeah.
there for
Oh,
all women. And and to me, you can get too far into that. And then you start to vilify men, right? And
oh,
just
yeah. Like,
completely reject and be like, "Fuck you, I don't need you, I'm doing my own thing." Um, I'll buy a toy on my own but, uh, like, for me, when I started on this dark night of the soul, I was getting messages like, "You're gonna meet men."
mm.
And I'm like, "I don't give a fuck about men. Why why do I wanna meet men?
You're like, "I'm done right
I'm
now."
done with men right now. Why do I have to prepare to meet men?" And it was like, "They're gonna show up, you gotta get ready." And I'm like, "I don't no offense to men." It was just at that point in time, I was like, "This isn't like, I don't know why." And then I realized that, I was like, I'm bathing in this, feminine rage." And in some yeah, I've been through a lot of shit. I have a lot of trauma, right?
Yeah.
I've been abused, I've been assaulted, all of that, right? And you can victimize yourself, you can do all sorts of stuff with that. And I think just felt I've maybe known 2 women my whole life who have not experienced that, right? In some degree?
Everyone.
Well,
Wow.
that's what they tell me, right?
Maybe they're
Um,
not aware of it.
right, but anyway, it's like it's so common, right? It's not like my
Yeah.
story is unique, it's really not, and that's the real story.
A
But
lot of women have experienced some kind of abuse.
oh, yeah, and probably in childhood and in adulthood, if we're
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
But, no, I had to release that, and I was like, "If I'm gonna see men wholly as their
Mm,
true selves, I cannot hold on to this rage and anger towards them." And that was quite a work. But
mm.
obviously we can see just now it's still there, right? It's a conscious choice not to just dive into it and live in it,
Oh, yeah.
I feel
A
like.
absolutely. Like, I totally agree with you, right? I do think that's almost like the shadow side of that all that rage, and honestly, even I feel like this was very subconscious though. Before I kinda played into that where I'm like, "Fuck all men." And then I was still dating them, but I still had that energy of, "Fuck
No,
you."
yeah, you can still exactly, you can still date them and wanna have a man in your life, but still held that,
Yeah,
like, I'm just gonna secretly like, everything I'm expecting you to piss me off, right? I'm expecting of course, then you get into manifestation or whatever, and it's just so convoluted and messed up, but that's the truth.
that was the best. That was the best analogy because yeah, it's like this middle finger that, like, it sticks out, but it's covered and it's there, but
This is the
it is
mask.
funny because
Yeah.
I know I know there are men out there that are, and I see. I've only recently started to get some examples of it in, like a physical interact, like face to face. Most of the time I do see this more online, of like there's the, because I know that there are men coaches out there that are like doing
Yeah.
spectacular, or I'm like, yes, yes, you're remembering like the role that you're meant to play in, and women are, and like that beautiful dance of the polarities. Because I do believe, I personally believe, for there to be harmony on earth, there has to be the balance of the feminine and masculine. That's the only way to have harmony back in our world, in our society, in our communities. Is that, but that has to start within first, because I always say this: as within, so without; as above, so below. There's truth in that saying, because you do have to experience that balance within in order to experience it without, right?
Yeah.
Like on the outside. And I know, like, all of my kind of like previous relationships and, the imbalances, oftentimes they were mirroring my own
Mm.
imbalance between,
What?
kind of like what we were saying. There's like this like inner rage that like we're like, we hate you, but we love you. Like, this like distortion that needs to be felt. Like, it really does need to be felt. You need to feel that rage, and sometimes you do need to go into that just to feel it, understand it, alchemize it. Because I do agree, and I did feel that rage as well, but it felt like for me, what came up was like, "Oh, this is my ancestors' pain.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
you
for
can
all
tell
the."
it's
Yeah,
it's the collective feminine to me.
yeah. It was
From
like
generations and generations.
it
It's intense.
it is,
Age. Yeah.
it is. And I feel like you do have to feel that fire of like, for all the times they were silenced or raped
Yeah.
or burned or backstabbed or betrayed, whether that was from a man or woman, like, for all of that suppression of the feminine consciousness, of our innate gifts and powers, right? And like, you do have to feel that in order to alchemize that. I do believe that. But you definitely have to have discernment in it, and discernment of like, all right, I've felt it, I've alchemized it, I understand it. I don't obviously want to play into that,
Right.
and
Yeah.
only like, I agree with you. It's like we're healing. This is how healing looks like, right? Healing.
I When I released it, I realized when the men did start showing up, and I feel like they were showing up just because I was embodying my feminine, right? And that's that magnetism, right? But I was able to see that they have their own current. And it's not, obviously they can correct me, but from what I'm gathering, to me it's like a deep sadness.
Mm,
There's
of
anger
their
there
own
too.
suppression.
Yeah. And they all like it's in the it flows through their heart space.
Yeah.
And when I realized that, I was like, "Holy fuck, I had no idea." I had no idea that they were experiencing this,
Mm,
if whether they could name it or not,
yeah.
right? Because I couldn't always name that feminine rage, right?
Mm, mhm,
But it
mhm.
was like, "Ah, this is their version." And it just cut me because I had been going through life just assuming that they're assholes.
Yeah,
And they're
yeah.
not. They're not assholes. Some are, but most of them aren't. Most of them, and
Well, the ones that are, I do
they're
believe
just
that.
really hurt.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and they haven't come into their own awareness and their healing and all, like, when I separated from my, husband, like, obviously, there were so many reasons, and kinda like you said, it was kinda, like, out of left field for my family. They're like, "What?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh my gosh, trust me, like, I can't deny
Yeah.
what my body, my intuition is telling me anymore, right? And like, I don't know if you experienced this, but, my ex did turn quite bitter after, very like, to the point where I was like, "Wow, I did not expect this from you. I
Mm.
actually did not expect you to be this bitter," but I know and I understand. I don't make him a villain from it because I know that that's his pain, and
Yeah.
that's his journey now that he has to take, and because before, like, again, because I was always kinda pulling men up, I would see their potential. I would be like
Yes.
I would, do that, but that's like I can't do that if they're not willing to do that, right?
Yeah.
And I I I I know he has his journey to go on, which I can't be a part of. And that is
Yeah.
love as well, because it's like there is this
100%.
part of our own journey that we have to go through alone. Like, for example, the dark night of the soul. I went through that alone. I did have one friend that I would call once in a while because she was also going through the same thing, but ultimately it's our own inner journey that we have to go through and take responsibility of, and, feel, learn, da 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 da, right? And yeah, like, you can feel it, you can have compassion for them or anybody, but it's like there is some things it's like you got to release and you got to let them have their own sovereignty, right?
Yes. Oh, 100%. Yeah. I think that's a hard part, especially in romantic relationships as women. You see that potential, and I've definitely fallen in love with the potential, right? And not the
But that's
actual.
our oracle, by the way.
Yeah. But it's learning not to do that. It's beautiful to see it, and you can see, oh, the way I know how I love, and I can see how it will change and transform them if they let it in and allow it, right? And it's like, "Oh, just let me do that, please." But it doesn't work like that. They have to let it in and allow it, and
Yeah.
it goes back to that surrender and just detachment, and that's the big lesson I'm learning because it's like, yeah, I still want romance, right? I want that, but it's like, I am understanding now that it needs to be in a very specific container,
Yeah.
and, I need to find a man who is willing to open up and allow it and let this transform him and me as well, right? Like I want to receive and be transformed by it too. So yeah, because I've had I won't get it. You'll read my future writings. I explain all of the stuff I've been through, but um yeah, I'm glad to finally reach this realization. Um because I don't know, it's even if it doesn't happen, which I think it will, but,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not that old, right? But,
But you know what?
like,
It's not joy. Honestly, it's because I wanted to mention, because you have come to that realization, because you
it's time.
have
Yeah.
been balancing those polarities, and especially if you've been feeling it, and especially if you've been seeing reflections of like the signs and synchronicities that is coming to you, but it has to happen in divine timing. And it's because,
Yes.
again, it's going to be a mirrored experience now, because we can only bring in what we are. That's it.
Mhm. That's
We can,
beautiful.
yeah. There's no, that's the thing. It can't be like faked, right? And that's also how it's like somebody who isn't embodied. If you're embodied, you can feel the
Yeah.
disembodiment in them. And again, it's not judgment. It's more like, oh, okay, that's where you are. And we can feel that level of like, growth, discernment, all of that. And when you step into that balance, you can only attract another person who's going to be balanced, and you're going to feel it in your body.
Oh, yeah. And I think part of it is being in that feminine to receive it. Um,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that's what I'm learning now because it's like, oh, since I desire it, I want to, like, seek it, and it's like, no, that's not how it works."
No, definitely.
I don't need to do that much work. I really actually don't
No.
have to do that much work. That's not my job. That's
You
not
just
my
have to
job.
enjoy your own
Yes.
your
Well,
own
and and finding yeah, I love that, finding joy and oh, it's such a beautiful place to be in, right? To just
Yeah,
be doing you, enjoying you, and growing and learning and connecting with people. And yeah, it's just gonna naturally occur and
absolutely.
bloom in the
Yeah,
divine time. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But in the meantime, it's like, enjoy yourself. Because again, women for so long were always putting themselves last, always filling everybody's cup instead of their own. And that is how you start leaking your own life
Yeah.
force energy. And and this is actually what makes it harder for you to receive. But when you literally go the opposite way and you start filling your own cup first, you start doing the things that you love, you start taking yourself out. You're not waiting for anybody anymore. You're not waiting for anybody's permission. And you start tapping into that own, like your own magnitude. Oh my God. Joy, like my world had, like, I took myself out, because I've been starting to do that. And by the way, women, when you first start doing this, if you've never done this, it will feel awkward. Go through that feeling. Go through it because it will pass. It will feel weird when you start pouring your own cup and then doing these things yourself. For example, like taking yourself out to a restaurant. When I first did it, I had so much anxiety. I was like, "Oh my god, what are people gonna think? People are gonna think I'm alone or I'm a loser, I'm this, right? It was my own thoughts, right? And I had to go through that. And when I went through it, I'm like, "Oh, never mind. This is kind of nice to enjoy my own company, my own peace." And it's gotten to a point where I really love it. And I do it every so often when I feel called to. And I felt called to the other day, and because I'm really enjoying it now, like, it's coming from a place of pure joy of being in my own company. Joy, I had every single waitress and waiter serving me. I didn't ask for that, but it's because I was so present. I wasn't on my phone. I wasn't, like, eating, um, not presently, like, just, just eating, drinking, and being all. I did check a couple things, but then I put my phone on silence and I was present. And I really feel like I step into my queen slash like empress energy. And I know some people might think, oh, that's conceited. No, it's not.
It's
'Cause
not.
you have that in you as well. You can tap into that. I'm not looking down on other people. I'm
Right.
just like enjoying my own energy
You're
and
being that
just
twinkle star.
exactly. And I'm telling you, I always had, there was a waitress, "Are you okay? How are you doing? How's this?" And it wasn't annoying, I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I think it's just, like, my energy." And I had a lot of magical things happen that night, which we don't have to get into, but, like, it was pure magic where I'm like, "Whoa," like, it really does feel like the whole world kind of bends towards you to make sure that you're fine because you realize that you're innately worthy as you
Oh
are,
yeah. Well,
right?
I'll touch on that a bit because I've I didn't I've never really had a problem with doing things by myself. I remember in college going to a movie or a matinee by myself. Now I do remember being a little awkward, but then I enjoyed it.
Mm.
And I mean, I've lived in foreign countries as a single woman. I've traveled the world as a single woman. Who knows how many restaurants I've been to alone, right? Um, Now in astrology, my south node is in my first house in Sagittarius, so it's all about being a loner, and I can own it, right? But so I'm saying this because, yeah, maybe I embodied that, and it
Good.
wasn't that part wasn't my issue, but I still had a worthiness issue,
Mm,
right? Um, it doesn't negate that wound, you could say, but
yeah.
it just showed up in different ways. But no, you're right. When it's sadly, but would hopefully won't be sad for long, to find a woman who is in her own power, like that queen or goddess, empress, however priestess, however she's vibing with it, right? Um, when you see her out in the wild, right? In in a movie theater alone or out to eat or getting, doing things on her own and just owning it, right? Oh, I okay, here's a way I did into it. I used to hate wearing dresses as a child because I climbed trees all the time and I just didn't work, right? I was very much a tomboy, but I had started feeling like, I think I want to wear dresses more and like, get a little more girly, even though I'm like not necessarily who I see myself as. And so I bought them. And when I went on my trip, I didn't wear them until my laundry was that was all I had clean. Because I was still had that resistance, right? But then when I would put it on, I'd be like, "Damn, I feel good. I'm fucking hot in this dress." Like, "Look at my hair. Like, look at these. Like, look at this sachet." And oh, and my shoes didn't match. I didn't fucking care, right? I'm in a foreign country. Nobody knows who I am. Like, but it helped me do that physical action of embodiment, just putting on a dress, right? And enjoying it and allowing myself to enjoy the way I looked, enjoy the way I felt. And that was healing for the worthiness because it was like, I'm worthy to feel this way. I don't have to hide myself. I know I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now, but it's cold. So, um, um, no, and then I started just wearing the dress even if I had other clothes that were clean. And it took a month or 2, right? But then I observed that about myself and I was like, "Oh, I just wanna wear my dress today." It's not like, "Oh, all my stuff's dirty and I have to anymore." It's like, I just wanna wear that dress because I know how it feels and I wanna feel that today. And no, you gotta play with it, right?
Oh my god.
Um, that's the integration. When you view it as play, it creates that joy, it creates that creativity, it creates that life force energy that you can just exude out. And then, like you said, everybody just gives you attention and you don't have to do shit for it. It's that
Right?
magnetism, right? Um, and it's cool to experience that this is what reality is showing me. Like, I wow, okay, I guess I worthy of this? Yeah, I am. Like, this is actually how I want my life to look and experience. Like, these are the experiences I want to have. And, contrast to the past where it was more traumatic or, more
Mm,
dramatic even.
draining.
Um, yeah, draining. Well, it's very draining when you're in denial and you are not in that state, right?
Yeah.
And you don't that's typically where we start. And that's where that, I'm fed up, that female's getting fed up. It's that I'm tired of being drained and I'm ready to learn how to not be drained so much. And
Yeah.
and owning that raw messiness of it. And it's like, let me just explore this for myself and just figure it out. Yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely.
I
No,
freaking love life now.
it's
Yeah.
funny? I also resonate with the whole dress thing. So I grew up in downtown Toronto, where it's very hyper masculine, like very much so. And naturally, when you're in an environment like that, you do tap into that, right? And again, like I do believe there's like an agenda to like keep women in their hyper masculine and just like So I never resonated with dresses. I had a couple, but I would maybe wear them when I had to go somewhere
Yeah, yeah.
fancy. But I never enjoyed it, truly. And it's really interesting when I did start to embody my feminine side, I was like,
Let's just try it on.
yeah, I have so many dresses now. And it's funny, usually when I would go towards something that, um, kind of just like leggings, jeans, or whatever, I tend to be like, "Oh, can I wear this? Is it warm enough for me to wear a dress and be flowy and in my feminine?" And I get like, this isn't to say that, like, that's what makes you feminine, because obviously it's an energy thing,
Right,
right?
right. Yeah.
It really is, but it's like how that piece of clothing
For your
makes
body.
Yes, how that makes you feel, right? Like, does it make you feel more sexy or feminine and flowy and in your play, in your creativity, right? And I what's interesting is I do find women are coming back to that because I do have another friend who I wouldn't say she's really into this type of work so much so, but she actually even started to tell me, she's like, "You know, I used to dress like a tomboy." She's like, "All I wanna do is wear dresses now." I'm like, "Oh, that is interesting. That is interesting," right? And she's like, "I'm really starting to enjoy it." I'm like, "Yeah, that like, really, really interesting that I am seeing more and more women wanting to connect with that side because we've been way too serious for so long, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
does exhaust us. It really does, right? And we want
Well,
to.
when we're embodied and we're living that, you just naturally have that. Now we have our own physical cycle, right? We got to honor that too.
Yeah,
But to me, I've definitely had excitement, life force energy, even when I am menstruating, right?
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wow, we're trumping the hormones here with this energy. But I mean, I just honor it whatever way it comes. Like if I need to rest for my body, I'll do it, right? But then if the
Mhm.
energy's there, I flow with it. And it's just so beautiful. And I guess this is what's on the other side of that dark night of the soul. I mean, you go through it and it's rough. It's really rough. It's not easy to look at all aspects of yourself, and I'm starting to use the Clockwork Orange eyes, and it's like I just wanna look at everything with Clockwork Orange eyes and, like, really make myself see it so I don't miss anything. But, obviously, if I do miss it, it's gonna loop around and
Absolutely.
come back, right? So to a degree with that, but it's
Yeah,
more just in a way of expression, in my opinion, to just say, like, I'm not gonna shy away
yeah.
from what I'm seeing, and I wanna integrate it. Well, is there any other things we wanna add before we close up here,
I
Alexandria?
f I feel like, yeah, it feels done, but obviously, we could probably go on and
Oh,
on
yeah, I'm
because
sure.
it's such a juicy topic, but yeah, yeah, I think feels good and complete.
Yeah, it does. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. This was such a pleasure to talk
It
with
was
you.
fun.
Yeah, it was
I had a
fun.
lot of fun and laughs.
Well, me too. Me too. And hopefully we could do it again. And just thank you so much. And thanks everybody who watched us live. And we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.